Hello, and welcome to Dining and Doodles live stream for October 2nd. So we have our latest live stream today. We have, as I announced last week, a second, and this is kind of odd that we had two in a row, but we had a second one requesting for us to do a giantess sort of request. So last week we did the one live, and today we're going to be doing another one. And as always, this is a by request series, so if you have something that you want requested in an art piece, just go ahead and leave a message. You can comment below, or you can comment on the live stream. I will be watching the chat as best I can throughout this stream. And also, you could also message us through any of the social medias. My name is Brittany Dotson, aka Embry Arts, and let's get on with the drawing for today. Hey! And so, as you can see here, well, let me pull this up here. You guys can kind of see where the pointer is here. I've gone ahead and done this sort of basic sketch out of this. These are the two characters. So this is the smaller character right here, which I believe, I'm trying to zoom in on this request here. Nocturna is the character's name, and then this is Luna, who's the bigger one, which is supposed to be a succubus. So I mean, this is what the requester sent us for art to work from. So that's their original artwork, and we're turning it into giant sort of character for the succubus Luca, I believe. Yeah. Or Lucia. Lucia is the giantess, and then, of course, Nocturna is the one she's holding on to. We didn't really get a size notation of what size, so we kind of just went where they were hugging it. Kind of like, almost like if there was a small doll. So, I mean, that's kind of what I went with on this concept. So that is what we are at today. And I'm going to fade our little sketch here. Actually, it looks like I did it on 2 layers here. I probably did it. Yeah, I kind of did it on the drawing, didn't I? Yep. Okay. It happens. We'll refer to color similarity, but because it's a little bit of a new character, we'll use similar colors, but we'll use a little bit different as well. But pretty much, I did this as sort of 2 different, when you have 2 characters interacting, it's good to note how you want them to appear. So in this one, I kind of wanted her leaning back, and then this way, so we could see down onto the characters. So when I went through and did the sketch, which literally took me about maybe 10 minutes to put together, the more difficult parts were trying to keep the 2 and figure out which one was which. And get them to where they have somewhat of a look to the character in the image, and I'm going to be doing a lot more of that as we go. And we are, of course, now also officially into Drawtober. We've had 2 releases as of this recording. So we've had day 1 and day 2 has been officially released. Patreons are able to see it a little bit earlier. I'm working on day 6 pretty much as we go through. So I mean, I literally just started her, because it is a her, for day 6. Started drawing her about an hour ago. Today's mostly been me working on and finishing up the latest page of Demon Blade, which I previewed a bit on our right or story stream on Thursday. And today's stream is going to be kind of laid back a little bit. We're going to focus on the characters. And speaking of laid back, something happened to me earlier today. Well, actually, before the stream happened, I took a little bit of a nap. I've been trying to read through Jujutsu Kaisen because I like the anime, but I want to read what went on technically before and technically after where the anime goes. So I don't know when season 2 will be dropping. I do know it has a season 2, and I'm glad because it's actually a pretty interesting story. But I fell asleep, and I dreamed, and this was only like a nap, an hour nap, but it was one of those situations where I woke up from my sleep, and I couldn't recall what day or time it was. I thought it was the morning. And that the sun hasn't risen yet, and I was like, what the heck's going on here? And then I recalled, oh yeah, I set my alarm to get me up in time to do the stream. And I was like, well, hell. So, my question to you all is, have you had a dream where you just completely lost basis of all time and place? I tend to have several of them with losing sometimes time. Once or twice I've had sometimes losing place. That you get those so real dreams that something's occurred in your life. And sometimes, they're good, sometimes they're horrible dreams. But you wake up and you're like, what happened? And that was the case literally a few hours ago. Before the stream. Actually, literally within half an hour ago. So yeah, I just woke up, completely lost concept of time and space. I don't recall what the dream really was about this time, because it was such a short one. But it was enough that I was just out of it, and I'm still kind of out of it. So you may hear me yawn a bit today while I work on this. But at the same time, I don't really have any caffeine to kind of bring me out of it. Let's see here. Let's do that. This is supposed to be a little hair clip. Little bat hair clip in their hair. Okay. And I want to kind of bring this face on out. And I always kind of like doing. This is an interesting thing to do. I've done OC characters before. I think this is the roughest character we've gone through from scratch. And by that I mean it's something that the person I know they love and they cherish. And they're kind of starting. I'm guessing they're starting out as an artist. And it's always good to kind of get to know where you start out. And I like sort of helping bring that out in some other artists. Everybody has a rough start. People, of course, always will tell me, I can't draw stick figures. That's one of the most common thing I'll get from people. And I mean, it's not true. Anybody can draw a stick figure. Anybody can technically draw. It just takes time, effort to learn. It's like learning an instrument. Anybody could play an instrument. To play it well takes a mastery. And masters aren't idiot savants. The concept of an idiot savant is somebody who just picks up and goes. And I'm not saying there's not a chance of that. And there are people out there that could very well easily be an idiot savant. And that's not a bad term. Calling them an idiot savant is not a bad term. It's literally meaning that you have a higher skill in that ability from the get-go. So you're somebody who's very much more skilled. And you have to apologize. I'm opening crackers because I have not eaten anything since lunch today. Not just I hadn't been felt like it too much. But yeah, the idiot savant, to be an idiot savant is to be like, oh, I pick up a guitar and I play really well. I could say in a way I was an idiot savant with the violin. I've only picked it up twice in my life. I don't own one. I've literally just picked it up and I could play it. And part of how I could play it was I would observe and use that observation of how I've seen other people play it to play it. And honestly, there are probably a lot more people out there that are idiot savants and one thing or another that just never tried. And it's kind of regretful, but I mean, the only reason I picked up the violin for those 2 times was because someone brought one in and we were in art school and the class was to record sounds and somebody brought one in and they didn't know how to play. I think they picked it up from their mother or something like that. And they passed it around the class and nobody really knew how to play. And I just picked it up and I was like, well, let me give it a try. And so, I mean, that's the deal. You gotta give it a try to know whether or not you have the skill kind of inbred in you. But also a lot of it is through just watching people do something. That's how the basic learning is in the human being. We are an observational creature. That's how the way learning is in nature. We can, sit there and study a book and read how people have done it. But more often than not, for people to really do something is to sit there and, my hand's so shaky, is to just get up and do it and just try. And often these days, there are a lot of people who just don't want to try to do something. And I mean, it's kind of sad. I know I'm saying the same things, and I'm trying to find work, and I have no objection to things as long as I can try them. Now there are issues, especially in my case with my health, that I can be like, well, I can try and do it, and I might be able to do it, but at the same time, I'm running myself at risk of my own health and well-being that I know of. So, I mean, I could go out and get a job probably today like that, with the jobs out there. Particularly a retail job, which I've had years and years of experience. But because I can't stay on my feet for long because of health conditions, because my left side doesn't work too well anymore, I potentially have difficulty doing an 8-hour plus job, especially where I'm going to be on my feet, like in a retail establishment. So, I mean, it sucks. I would absolutely go back and do that kind of job, and I might have to, considering finances are getting tight for me. But at the same time, I have to know that there is a risk in myself. It's not me being in a case of stubborn, it's me being aware of my problems uh, as they are and being able to adjust. And I mean, that's what I got to give this person some credit with their art. I don't know their age, I don't know whatnot, but I mean, it is. I can tell it's the basic of a starting artist. The reason I can tell that is because I did something similar as a child. Let me see if I can draw something like I used to do. One of the ways I would draw is like this. This would be a character. That would be a character I'd draw as a child. Something like that. So I've had to study and learn, and not all of it I learned in college through art. I mean, some of it I learned in high school, some of it I learned, but a lot of what I learned on my own, and I learned by doing. So, I mean, you don't perfect anything by having people show you constantly. You have to keep picking it up and doing it yourself. A good lesson would be a sport, any sport. You could be the best at a sport, or when you pick up a ball, you can do some great jobs or something like, say, baseball. I could hit the ball pretty well and have a great batting average, but I would not know the basics of how to do a bunt, how to do a hit, and all that if I don't train on that kind of thing. And you got to do that with art. I mean, it's no different there with art, with music. I mean, I have no musical talent, but I have a decent ear to music. So I mean, I can hear and listen to a piece, and I had some interest in the piano a little bit as a kid. We had a piano in the home, and I think I was the only one that would play on that piano. My mom didn't really play. No one else in my family played. I think it was between me and a babysitter I had. We were the only ones that played on that piano. And I didn't know one bit of music. So if you asked me to sit here and play a tune, I had some sort of instrument, which I think I might have a wooden recorder somewhere. I could not, for the life of me, because I don't have that knowledge of music. I just can go through with what's by ear, and what I know by heart. And I mean, a little bit, I mean, that's what kind of jazz is, I guess. So I guess you could call it jazz. Let's see here. Try and get up to the art here. They gave me. How's her hair? All right, so she has the side bangs. She does not. I'm guessing, yeah, given the boobs, I'm guessing they're female. And appearance at least. Megani here. Which drawing is this? This is the second OC request I had in 2 weeks in a row. And this is the request, can you make a pic of my succubus? Lucia as a giantess hugging her friend Nocturna, please. And I believe, let me try and pull this up because this was originally off of our Dining and Doodles, or I mean our request for Drawtober. I don't know if we're still going to do one of those characters on the list. I've not paid much attention to the actual list outside of when I'm drawing certain characters when. I'm still getting requests, even though Drawtober, the list is full. We do not have any more request slots for Drawtober. So we've got first request from everybody in a row. Let's see here. So going down, I know I gotta reload here. This request is by, as soon as I get the loading. Nick Halliburn. So Nick Halliburn off of DeviantArt requested this drawing today. So what we're doing here is literally the giantess. So that's what the request is today. But I mean, back to sort of the topic, going on about idiot savants today. I guess that's sort of the ongoing topic for today. I love to see, one of the things I especially love to see on DeviantArt is new artists, and I want to try and find, there are people that do some amazing work. They blow me away, absolutely, but I at times will try my best, and it basically what it will do is it'll light a fire in me to try and get better. Is Aphrodite one of the uncertain ones in the future? I think I put her down on the list. If it was one of the second requests that you put in, which I believe Aphrodite was a second request, you can put it in Dining and Doodles if you want, so I can add it to the list for Dining and Doodles. So yeah, if you had 2 Drawtober requests, yeah, everybody who did a second request, those second requests are now gone. We're down to just first requests. The last people that came through, that were last 3 that made requests, were a group of friends that all asked for the same series, which was Attack on Titan. So we're gonna have 3 Attack on Titan characters in a row for the last 3 choices. But we will have, if you have a secondary request, if you have a request that was on secondary, I will be happy to add it to Dining and Doodles. So you were the one to request Aphrodite. Yeah, I'll be happy to add Aphrodite. According to the list, she's 10/23. Okay, yeah. Well, today's the 2nd, so this is 10/2. So that'll be October 23rd. So if she's on the list for Dining and Doodles, I do need to update that list, and I also need to release the late fall winter Patreon releases list. Both of those will probably be updated tomorrow. I sent out a sketch for the next Teacher's Punishment, which will be the private release, or the private release this weekend, literally a few moments ago. So we have the sketch set up for it. I just haven't done it yet, or done the drawing yet for Teacher's Punishment. And I think it's time, because I mean we lost a request for Patreon last weekend, but I think what we did have scheduled is going back to our normal schedule. I think we're running on 8 or 9 actual requests, and then we have a filler week every month, which is what I pushed now, so that patrons get their requests out a little bit faster, depending on request patrons. There are things that will, interrupt things. I will still be doing the Drawtober, and even if I get a position, which I'm fighting to try and get for a job right now, this stream and the next, let's see, and the story stream will stay untouched. The gaming streams probably will be cut down or cut completely, simply because they take up time, and this is not a gaming strictly channel. This is a art and creativity channel for the most part, and that is why I want to tell stories. I don't want to come just sit here and play games all the time. It's fun. I will say the run that we've been playing on with as of late with Fallout 4, things are going to change in the next stream. So Monday, one of the things happened when I went off of stream on Friday. I was trying to find some of the glitches. I found one thing that improves the stream, so it'll make it go faster. The game will load faster. Hopefully there'll be less crashes. I am trying to play with some of the other additional mods, but some of the mods are going to be going away. Some of the mods are going to be changed up. One of the mods is glitching like crazy, though. I literally played last night for about another 5 hours, and I glitched about every 2 hours. So I'm trying to find a way so it won't glitch, but at the same time, the character and the story we've been playing through is probably going to be changed. I might play a little bit after this stream to try and fix things, but we may not be as far as we were. I'm going to try and get as far as we can, but at the same time, I still have to do the art for this week and next week. I literally just finished Demon Blade, which should have been released yesterday for the private release. I just finished that about 3 hours ago, which took most of the time today to do. And part of that is because it's an integral panel. I wanted to make sure that the artwork was done right for that panel. And if you tuned into the story stream on Thursday, you will know why that's an integral panel in the story. And yeah, since we had a request, I probably will do some Demon Blade reads. I may do some original sort of Demon Blade story element, or I may go through and read some of the stories that were either pulled or haven't occurred yet, so it'll be interesting. And so I haven't even drawn them, so you'll be able to introduce you to some characters that I've been holding off on for quite a while. And I might do some art for those streams. I don't know yet. I'll have to work on it. I know I have stopped the monthly drawings of Demon Blade character studies. Part of that is just simply because it takes a long time to do them, and I know what the characters look like. The main casts have been done at this point, so it's just kind of going through the minors. I might do some more with some of the villains. Definitely, probably with Spring, which is Mai and Ino's father. um, as he becomes a villain in the next. We're in a current arc wherein was the of the story is the homecoming arc, homecoming horror arc, where it is Mai and her former relationship with Shin Yoku, who was a samurai in the series, and then we have after that we kind of do a few offshoots, and we get introduced to the character Lori, and then we get led into the story with Mai and her father, and and her relationship with her father. And Spring is a bit of an ass. And I can easily say he's an ass. I created him. Uh, he is, of course, he's a pervert for one. He constantly likes to hit on women. That is his concept. But he kind of, one of his things in life is to try and create the perfect child of his lineage. And he likes to try and find strong females of different races and create them that way. And so when he meets Tetsu, or Tetra in the sense when they first meet, yeah, he hits on her. And he flat out says, hey, I'll do this for you if you officially, bear my child. Not have get married, make love, become my lover, anything like that. It's if you bear my child, I will do this for you. And so it's like, okay, that's the way the Spring is. And it's a personality that I find humorous, but at the same time, creepy. And there are people that kind of like that I based him off of. So I might do one of him. I might do one of their brothers, because they're a recent creation. I know I had them in the story, but I've never really introduced them properly. They were introduced a little bit in issue 4, and a little bit in issue 3. So 3 and 4 I introduced them a bit. They are, let's see, sounds like a skeever version of Moroku and Inuyasha. Skeevier a little bit. Yeah, the Moroku definitely is influence of Spring. With that sense, but I mean, he's the fact that he keeps the women that have given him birth around him, and the more funnier relationship is him and Mai's mother, Frost. That the two of them, Frost was his first conquer, and was the only woman he really loved. And later in the series, the two interact, and you get to see them. And Frost is a sort of, it's kind of hard to describe her. She's not a badass. I mean, she's about a badass as Mai, but she's also a bit of a hard nosed. She's the mother-in-law character, in a sense. When Tetsu and Frost meet, is an interesting interaction. And she pretty much just kind of just grind. She's there to grind and be the overarching of unaccepting mother-in-law, even though Tetra and Mai aren't in that kind of relationship. She kind of looks at, you're the one that's having to deal with my child. I don't trust you. So I mean, it's interesting, but I feel that I'm trying to think. I still haven't written how Spring and Frost have really gotten together. I know that they did care for each other at one point. And it's going to revolve a little bit on how Spring got his got his title, because in Demon Blade I use gods as a form of title. So you gain your godhood as a spirit, and Spring gained godhood at one point. And with it, I know exactly how Spring gained his godhood, because it is a historical moment in Japan's history. But it's always interesting when you go through and write a character, and you kind of want to develop that character, and especially when you're doing something with an on again, off again sort of villain rival character. In the case of Spring, and with she's straightforward, the shonen protagonist attitude. With Spring, it's more that lady flirting attitude that you see in a lot of shonen males, sort of leading. And I mean, a bit of Kyle has the same attitude, but he's not as much of a flirt for anyone, and especially when it comes down to him seeing his love, Tetra, which is Tetsu's female form. He pretty much will give up whatever woman he's chasing and go straight for Tetra, because he's kind of blindsided that way. Let's see here. I need to do... She's got this weird sort of open chest piece here. But yeah, I mean, with the request, I'll do a bit more during the story time. This week, though, we're going to be doing Konosuba. So we're going to do chapters 1, or just chapter 1 of Konosuba, because it's a long novel, actually. But it's only like 4 chapters long. New to this original idea of yours, who would you say Mai is inspired by? Mai is a mix of characters. Partially, she was inspired by Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo. But she is also based off of a true Yuki Onna, which is her origin, which is her species. But she's also, she's got a lot of Goku and a little bit of Luffy in her as well. She likes to have fun. She likes to go about. In fact, the current issue is literally caused because she wants to have fun. That's going on in the story. She just wants to have fun, and Tetsu wants her to study, because their life, or his high school life, is pretty much the only thing he's able to control in his life right now. So him having to fight Mai on that kind of is a little bit of a sore spot for him. But yeah, Mai is literally her name means Mai Snow. Mayuki. So she's initially was pretty much a very Ryoko character. When the original story came out, she had that sort of Ryoko feel and whatnot. So I have to say, yeah, she's very much Ryoko from Tenchi Muyo. But considering Demon Blade is not your traditional harem, there is a bit of a harem element, but there's not your traditional harem. And I was watching a good thing about harems. Mother's Basement has a great video on it, that he just did on harems and how harems came to be. And yeah, I have to admit, by that standard, yeah, Demon Blade has harem elements. Ino is not a harem target, so my sister Ino would not be... Pretty much has one interest in love, and they get together and they stay together. And that is Roland. They pretty much, from the moment Roland catches her in issue 4, or no, issue 3. Uh, Interesting. Always hearing about original character MCs and their inspirations. Love comparing and contrasting with the MC's series ideas. I have named for Hellion Fighter. I've had by the name of Hellion Fighter. Yeah, I definitely love to hear about other people's characters. I one of the things I follow a lot of people in webtoons for is some to see original characters and developments from people. Just this, there's a one of the things I dislike of webtoons is there's a lot of miwa, and it's a lot of romantic miwa. I don't mind romantic miwa, but it's a very repetitive form, and that's what they push in on that site. And having an original series, or having Demon Blade there, and then having a new series I'm working on to go for there, both of them, neither are romantic. In a sense. Well, Demon Blade has romance. The new series, I'm going to be making fun of the romantic miwa a bit. The new series I have not officially given the title yet of, but it's going to be Heir to the Stars is the official name. I've been fighting with what the name is. Basically, the concept is that there's an alien species that pretty much rules over this part of the galaxy. And that alien species sends out their baby, sort of a la Superman. They send them out, and they call it the larva stage. They send the larva out to a planet to be raised with a species and to grow and adapt and learn from that species. And then after a certain point, they reclaim that larva, which is now at the stage of pupa. And in that reclaim, they have to bring them back to be the future ruler. So that is what the new Heir to the Stars series is going to be. And I've been trying to write good jokes for the series, and that's one of the more difficult parts, is to make sure I'm writing jokes that I know are funny. Writing humor is very difficult at any point for people. And because you don't know if a joke will just be something that you find funny or something that somebody else will find funny. So, I mean, this one, I need to get back to drawing it. I haven't drawn it in the last week, which I kind of regret. I got so fast, and this series is something I can draw real quickly. And when I get it started, it's going to be a little bit of a quick draw thing that I can put together 1 or 2 pages a week on. But the writing process is something I've got to really do. And in that series, I want to introduce several different characters. I've talked about online in the streams. We had the Robitch a few weeks ago, which was introduced on the stream. I did a drawing of her. She's a very sort of mentally unstable character for a robot. She wants to die. She finds the glory in exploding herself, and she wants the new leader to kind of give her the order to blow herself up in honor. And she doesn't, unfortunately. She's kind of like always wants that, but she's not getting that. We have a cat in the series that takes over as the captain of the ship. That is very cat personality. So imagine a cat flying a ship. It wants to go after, say, a red dot through space, wasting fuel, wasting energy. It's going after it because it wants to chase it. But it's of the mindset that it's in charge. So that's a cat. I don't know why I hit that one. But yeah, I mean, it's when I go and create a character, either being a newer character or being an older character. I want to try and think through why they do what they do. The robots I'm still working on, all of them, because there are 4 in all. I know there's another one called Raid, which is literally a robot maid, which is why they get these stupid names from another character. It is really just robot and some sense of their name. So Raid is the sort of domestic robot of the ship, and so she's got the overbearing mothering kind, but in like a very dangerously huggy kind of way, where she'll break your back trying to hug you because she doesn't know her own strength. There's a scientist of the ship, which is a robot with a pumpkin on his head that they named Jacket. He is absolutely all for trying to figure things out that already are known, but he wants to find new ways to it of understanding it. So if he's like, some of the things they bring on board are animals, and he doesn't understand the concept of some of those creatures. So he wants to study them, but he wants to study them in weird ways. So I mean, that's how the cat comes to be. There's other characters. There's going to be a furry squirrel. Well, it should be a furry loved squirrel, a squirrel that people love. If you like furry, you might love the squirrel in the series. She's going to be just cute, shy character. As a squirrel would be. I mean, if you put a squirrel, gave her a consciousness, and let her free, she more than likely is going to be like, I don't like this place. I need to zoom back because some of this I'm drawing is in the hair. I've been a bit distracted here. All right. Let's fix the hair here. But yeah, no, I always love to try and create new characters that are interesting. There's a character I haven't introduced yet in Demon Blade that was supposed to be introduced in the last version, before we started doing the current version that's out there. That is a priestess who is nearsighted but refuses to wear her glasses all the time. And she is assisted with an unique character. I don't want to spoil him. But you saw a glimpse of her in issue 4. She was the one watching television with the giant suit of armor next to her. She literally was supposed to be introduced in the series, the last run of the series, literally about a chapter before the series ended after the spring story. So this would have been you'd have one story before this one that she would have been introduced in, and she would have been introduced after. Well, yeah, because she comes in right at the end of Laurie's backstory, where you meet her parents, and Laurie's parents are assholes. Laurie's a happy-go-lucky witch girl, kind of reverse of how she is in the past. I probably will do a drawing of her in the future. She's been in the original series, so or the last series. So if you read the last series, you met Laurie, and she's been in some of the side stories. She's a lightning controller. She likes to laugh. She enjoys life, even though she killed herself. But she never really got the chance to have friends, and it's kind of tragic. But yeah, Laurie is one of the more tragic but humorous characters in the series. that I'm glad to introduce, but unfortunately she comes in after this story and after the Christmas stories or the holiday stories, because we have a Christmas and a New Year's story. There's just humor. Well, technically, there's a Thanksgiving. If you declare the ghost chicken a Thanksgiving story, you could consider that as well. But I mean, just to come up with stories and ideas is something I always try to do. And so having my chance to tell a story when Hellion Fighter was meant to be a model of an older shonen mindset, with the main theme being around Christian mythology, focused on afterlife, as we know being twisted. The main character is an angel that falls from grace and goes through hell and heaven to set things right. Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one. There are, I know, a few people that'll do Christian based stories. It's not enough, honestly, to be honest. Concepts there are following the Christian mythology. Japan doesn't really know it, which is why you get bastardizations of Christian mythology in Evangelion, because he didn't know squat about Christian mythology, and he knew Anno admitted he didn't know a squat about the Christian mythology. He just kind of played it up. Now, I mean, yeah, if you do it right, you can do really well. I mean, there's irony in me saying that Japan doesn't know it, but because my first anime was a Christian anime. I don't remember which one it was first. I keep screwing up this butt. I don't know why I'm screwing up the butt. Here, I'm going to draw on this lower layer and try and get this right here. But, yeah, my first animes were Flying House or Superbook. They're both anime. They were both created in anime, and they were both Christian. Main characters, okay, I got that. Main character is an angel that falls from grace and goes through hell. Okay, so yeah, I mean, a little bit. Yours sounds kind of a little bit of Angelique if we went out of anime. I think that's the story of Angelique in comic books. Is she's a fallen angel trying to set things straight, and now she's an offshoot of Spawn series, of course, Spawn being a hell demon fighting his way up. He was supposed to bring souls back down, but he decided, screw you, Satan, I'm going to do my own thing. So, mainly bare bones, things like 9 circles of hell, 7 districts of heaven, and all this. Now, I've never really seen anything do anything with the 7 districts of heaven. 9 circles of hell, everybody kind of does because of Dante's Inferno. In hell, I kind of do it in my own work. I know Demon Blade, Mice, ultimate powers are deriving from the concepts of the 9 circles of hell. Her transformed forms are coming from the 9 circles of hell. So she's going to have, I think the first one is called Aberrus. So it's literally going to be Aberrus is going to be her first transform and all that. But yeah, I've never really thought of the 7 districts of heaven. I'll have to look that one up because I've not really familiarized myself with that one. I know, of course, Dante's, and I've studied a bit of culture and history of some of the different religions. I, of course, born Christian, raised Christian, but never really studied the deeper mythology too much because it's kind of hard to find what's been written as fiction and what has been written as sort of biblical fact in the day. And a lot of the mythology comes from the Book of Judas, or the some of the Dead Sea Scrolls and some stuff like that. Some of the exiled books from the Bible. Book of Mary as well, I think, is one of them, but and that's a lot of the mythology comes from those books that I know that is sort of based in any of the kind of Hollywood-esque takes of Christianity, and also because Hollywood doesn't really follow Christian concept much. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, all to you if you can do it. Yeah, there's a market out there for it. I just don't personally know it, so enough that I'd put it in there. I mean, this is something I described and I talked about, and I got response from our storyboard or story time on Thursday. The person who made the story, they're taking advice, and some of the story elements. One of the things I do when I do a story, I will research the history or elements. Well, seven districts are more like a fake thing. Ties more to seven heavens from Hinduism. Okay, so it's more of a Hindu concept. Okay, I got you there. I mean, hey, that's why I didn't know anything. Yeah, because we don't know much about heaven. We barely know about the angels that are supposedly lined up. If you follow, I forget which book does the listing of the angels. But there is a book, Christian book, about which angels are what. And it's basically because all the only angels we know of in the Bible are Gabriel, Michael, and Lucifer. And basically, we only know Lucifer, I think, that much. Kind of, that's what's been messing me up. That leg is in a bad position. But yeah, I mean, the classic, I know Japan loves to do Uriel as well, Raphael, as the main other angels to talk about. I mean, even in hell, what is it? Supernatural did it. Went through the angels of heaven also a bit as a season where they had the villains in there. Mainly seven gates to the top of the heaven where God is. The heavenly virtues basically guarding the gates between each section. Heaven, similar to how it has the 7Ds guarding the descent to. Okay, I got you. Yeah, yeah. So you're talking like how the seven sins and all that, guarding the descent to the. Okay, devil. Yeah. I mean, hell. I mean, in the isekai I've been working on and that we read the first chapter of, the villains are the four apocalypse horsemen, and under them the seven sins. So I mean, we use that as a concept. I mean, I've got that concept of Christianity and the isekai we're working on. Although I do like to try and bastardize them a bit in the series, because it's a very huge trope to do the seven deadly sins, even beyond the anime, the seven deadly sins. I think, let's see, we just need to do her boots and her gloves, and then I think we're gonna go from there. We're gonna start doing color. I do need to do her friend's foot, but let's get her gloves. situated. And her boots, I kind of started here, a line. It's always interesting to pull ideas. Like I was trying to say, let's see. Yeah, Full Metal Alchemist, exactly. Full Metal Alchemist did it as well. When I wrote 11 Kingdoms, the amount of studying you have to do sometimes takes a lot. When I wrote my novel 11 Kingdoms, I literally was reading science reports, not just even, science books and whatnot to see what's going on, but I mean, I was reading the inputs and output, or the sort of scientific reports on certain things, such as cybernetic limbs, which are now a thing, that are becoming a more commonplace thing, and they're slowly developing to where they have a connection to the mind, and you can do it. Though, unlike them, I have like a Sloth as the weakest, constantly heavenly virtue, counterpart as the strongest. Okay, yeah. Sloth is the one that always kind of throws me off. Full Metal Alchemist, they kind of did it well. In Brotherhood, I did not like how they did it in the first season, where they just made it his mother, reborn. So I mean, I got where they were going with Sloth. I did like the concept where he's just like this is annoying and boring. I don't get him in the Seven Deadly Sins, honestly. Sloth is, isn't it Merlin? Isn't Sloth Merlin in Seven Deadly Sins? I think so. Or no, she's. I don't know. I don't know which one's Sloth. Oh no, Sloth is Fairy Boy. I forget his name. God damn it, King. Sloth is King. And yeah, okay, yes, King has his damn pillow all the time, so yeah, he does represent Sloth. Um, at least among other groups, yeah. I had the Sloth in mine. I forget how I wrote Sloth. Oh no, he was a mimic. That's right. Yeah, Sloth is king. Yeah, no, in the isekai, in our isekai, Sloth is a mimic. And if you know anything about mimics in D&D or any of the other sort of RPGs, they take the form of something and they sit there. So that is my concept of why I wanted to have Sloth as a mimic, because he'd be like, no, I'm here. I don't want to move. I'm fine with being right here. Let the enemy come to me, and then I'll attack them. I'm not going to do anything. But the chapters we're currently on in that series, we have them going after lust. Most people do lust as the sort of, well, actually, I got to give Seven Sins a concept. Lust is I forget Lust's name too, but it's the robot kid. That is the androgynous robot. But and of course, Lust was the sexy female that was, I think, Scar's older brother's love. It's been a while since I've watched Alchemist or read Alchemist. To where she was originally supposed to be. I think it was supposed to be Scar's older brother's love. Then he tried to bring her back, and she came back as Lust. Sloth was kind of inspired by DBGT, Shenron. He was super weak, but durable, long lasting. SDS, gross. Goat sin of us. Gowith. Okay. Growl. Yeah, I remember. God. That's why it's a weird name, and it fits for the character. I my problems settle it. I see. I have problems with Seven Deadly Sins, but I also love the series, and that's one of the things I really. My problems with it is the later part of the series, but I do enjoy the series. It is an enjoyable series. Full Metal Alchemist, yeah, it's a great series. I love it. I don't think there's anything of it I would change too much. I would prefer Brotherhood because I feel it was a more impactful story. Um, the original Full Metal Alchemist was good, but yeah, I think I like the concept of father over the girl in the end. Uh, that was in charge, and it's been so long since I watched the original Full Metal. Um, let's start doing some color. So she's got this kind of color. Seven Deadly Sins, very mixed bag. As the movie the movie recently dropped on Netflix. See, I had watched the last season, so pretty much I was done with it. Pretty much after we got that Elizabeth was an angel. After that, I was kind of like, I'm done with this. Yeah, I wanted to see Elizabeth develop, but I didn't feel like she had that all powerful concept. Um, I didn't like how she developed. Let's put it that way. They never really explained much with her, and it may have been explained more in the last season. I just didn't watch it. Um, I hit the black there. And we're missing a spot. I also don't know. I just found out there's another season of Agretzko coming out, and I love Agretzko, but I don't know why because I feel like they ended on a great line for the last season. That they just end it there, but they're continuing it. I'm just kind of like, ugh. Maybe I'll sit down and watch the rest of Seven Deadly Sins. I don't know. Um, I kind of just have been putting Jujutsu Kaisen back on this past 2 days. Truth Behind Meliodas and Elizabeth got very convoluted. Yeah, it did. And it just kind of made me not like it. The fact they were reborn lovers of an angel and a demon, and very Romeo and Juliet thrown off kind of personality. You can do it right and you can do it wrong, and I felt like that part of the story just kind of really threw me for a loop, and I didn't really like it after that. Um, let's kind of bring her hand over. Well, I'll do something later with the hand. But yeah, part of me would have liked to just had her kept stayed as a princess. I'd recommend reading over watching animes severely screwed over by Netflix, similar to Ragnarok. Now, what throws me off with Record, whenever they do any record of, um, are they connected with Record of Lotus War? That's what I have to question. Because it always runs in my head. That's one of the first anime I, of course, watched because it was one of the first big anime, sort of fantasy anime. Um, out there, and I know they were doing a sequel to Record of Lotus War, but I don't know if Ragnarok was it. Um, and I mean, there are a couple other anime on Netflix. Some of them do well, some of them don't. I mean, I've been watching. what is it? Kurokuro's basketball. No, it's its own thing. Okay. I've not had any interest in really watching it. Honestly, I've heard bad things, so yeah, I probably would read it over watch it. Um, and I could probably do it. I just hadn't sat down to read it. As far as manga lately, outside of what's in Shonen Jump, well, what's officially in Shonen Jump, I've been reading something that's been out unofficially in Shonen Jump, and that is let's see, let me get the title here. Akatsuki Triangle. I've been reading. It's officially it is officially Shonen Jump, but it's not in Viz's Shonen Jump, because it is too adult for the Shonen Jump app, so it's not in the app. So Viz releases it on their website, and I've been enjoying that series. It's kind of like Rama One Half meets Ninjas. Um, uh, so I mean, it's something I found kind of interesting to read. I've also been reading Comey Can't Communicate, so I'm waiting for that series to drop. That's coming on Netflix, and I'm praying they don't f that up. Poor treatment as anime is appalling, considering the company behind it, Helsing Ultimate. See, Helsing Ultimate did a good job in a sense, but they took too damn long between episodes. And I probably sit down and watch Helsing Ultimate again, and that's simply because it's October, it's a Halloween anime. I'll probably watch it again. But I've got to sit down and watch Psychopaths again because that's our homework for the anime group that I'm part of, that we review an anime. So I got to rewatch Psychopaths. I forgot that it was actually 24 episodes the first season, but we're just doing the first season. I specifically said, because it was my choice, and I specifically said we are not doing the second season. We're just doing the first season of that. We wanted a little bit of I wanted a little bit of something horror based in a sense, but it's more psychological horror based for the season. So we got this purple. Her eyes are red, it looks like. So same color as her hair, I think we'll go with. So and I mean, there are some anime that I've watched that have just been crap. Granted, I've give some slack due to the state of the world and time development, but I can't help but feel it was rushed. It probably was. Netflix because of COVID demanded a lot more anime to be rushed out. And when Netflix themselves pay for an anime, they kind of they're kind of assholes, honestly. A good way to put it. They don't treat the animators right. And that's what has me worried with Comey, because Comey is a really good series, manga wise. Over half of what's currently available in the manga, and the manga is monthly release. Okay. I'll look into it. I mean, I will definitely sit down and read it, and see what I think, because I know you've requested. I think somebody else has requested something for Ragnarok on me before. Of course, there's the infamous Aphrodite scene that's became a meme from the anime. So I mean, I'd definitely check it out. I have no objections to checking out a new series. But like I said, today I've started reading Jujutsu Kaisen, simply because I want to see more, and especially since the first 4 chapters aren't featured or feature a character that's not appeared in the anime so far. Um, I say so far because he's the one that they talk about. Hey, they're out, traveling the world. That's the character that the Kyoto team wants to fight. So it's kind of nice to see him before the series takes off. Of course, I also read One Piece weekly because it's One Piece and I love it. Definitely looks like we're finally getting to that big old Kaido fight. Hell, this week we should be having the Kaido fight. Actually, the black should be this side. The hair, and then the white on the other side. Let's see. Pretty sure Megane 1996. Hi, Megane. The only one who's asked. Could be wrong. Well, I mean, I think there was somebody who asked for something in passing through notes, not through, not on the monthly list. I think there was somebody else that asked for something for Ragnarok. I could be wrong. It's deep in my notes and my passing and stuff I have to go through to try and track down where it's at. But I think I've run across it twice, the people requested. So you weren't the only one, I don't think. Okay, so she does have, from zooming in, I can see that she does have those sort of swirls on the horn, or the rings around the horn like a goat. And hers are more bull-like. So let's actually zoom this out a bit. My October request was actually the Naruto / One Piece crossover. It was actually for okay. So were you the one that requested Naruto from me, Calvert? Because that one's already done. That one comes out in 2 days. So that one's already done. I've drawn it. He's coming out. I know I had one request for Naruto, and then I had another request for one of the Straw Hats. I don't recall, but I think that was a duplicate or a secondary choice. Really have, yes, okay. So you were, yeah, okay, yeah. So yeah, the Naruto is done. So the Naruto will be coming out on the 4th. When I get done here, I'll actually be probably releasing the 3rd tonight before I finish up here, or after I finish up here. And that was another original character, and then it comes to Naruto. Yeah, no, and I drew Sage type, which is what you kind of pointed out. Sage form Naruto. Which honestly is the only time Naruto has that sort of unique look too. Usually he has this orange and black combination, or orange and blue combination for his younger self. But the only time you really get red into him is his Sage mode. And I quit following Naruto. You kind of, with your request, you kind of got me interested into reading or watching Shippuden, because I quit right as Shippuden kind of got started in watching it. I've read the manga for the most part, but I don't recall much of what happened in Shippuden. But all the filler kind of just, between that and Bleach, the filler just killed it for me. So I mean, I'd love to keep or check that series back out again, probably, and I might. Um, but part of me is like, if I'm going to watch it, I need to watch the full series, and I probably will. Um, but I'll do what I did with One Piece recently when I did a watch through to where I'm caught up on the dubbing of One Piece, where I skipped any filler arcs, with the exception of the one good filler arc in One Piece, which is the Marine headquarter one that they land in after they fall from Skypiea. After they fall from Skypiea, I mean, it's the only good filler arc in One Piece. But I will give it, it's far better filler than most of what I saw in Naruto and Bleach. Shippuden's fine after Naruto versus Pain, until after Naruto versus Pain. Then it starts going downhill. Don't bother. I know not to bother with Naruto. I hear horror stories of aliens at this point. I paid attention, just like I did with the current. I don't know. Is it still current with the fairy tale, or are they still doing the 100 years arc? Because I know it's not the original creator doing that storyline. It's somebody else picked up the story and went with it. And I mean, it's sort of the same. I feel it's the same with Naruto, isn't it? It's the original creator's not doing Naruto. Somebody else is. But I mean, at the same time, it's like this. Just the horror stories I've heard. I'm just like, wow. Is that what's really occurring in what used to be just a story about a ninja and trying to be accepted by his own people? I I do like I did see a meme this morning, based off of Naruto and Boruto. That was that Naruto's wallet is older than Neji was. Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest is getting an anime, and it's so much better than Boruto. I'll give it that it probably is better, but it's not the original creator. If you want to see filler done right, Fairy Tail, where based off the side stories from the manga, yeah. I mean, I that's probably not a bad idea. I'm actually preferring Eden Zero though, as one of the ones on Netflix that I am preferring, anime wise. Uh, Eden Zero was done right, and that is from the original creator of Fairy Tail, of course, and Rune. And I, the one thing I am enjoying that there's the constant. It's like Where's Waldo in Eden Zero for Fairy Tail characters. Um, just to see, okay, yeah, this is an offshoot of that character, but then randomly he'll put that character in an actual version of a Fairy Tail character, like Natsu and Lucy are in the first, I think, second episode of the anime, and I don't know when in the manga, but and then you have, of course, Urza returns in a new form, and then there's a brief Mirror Jane in one scene. It's it's odd. I'll give it that much. But I kind of like the cheesiness of the world and how the powers come to be explained a little bit better than I do in Fairy Tail. I What bothered me in Fairy Tail is that they didn't really pay much attention to anything other than a Slayer. Fairy Tail 100, you may not be from the original guy, but you can tell the guy was a fan. Yeah, well, I mean, he was his assistant, honestly. He was his assistant that picked it up. And I think the same was with Boruto. Both are picked up from assistants of the series. Sort of gets their own series, but they went with an offshoot of an original series. I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to get one with One Piece eventually. Well, I mean, we kind of do. The guy of from Food Wars has done the Sanji series, and we've got another one coming out with. Actually, we've had another one where they did Princess Vivi as a story. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see more of a One Piece offshoot stories afterward, pretty much after the series goes from assistance. I think Oda himself is done with the series. He's reached his point where he's like, yes, when I'm done telling the story. Yeah, and the Dr. Stone guy with the ace. Yeah, I think he's done the Dr. Stone artist with the ace. I think he's had more fun with that than his own series. You can tell Dr. Stone's coming to an end. And I wonder what puzzles me with Dr. Stone is this last, pretty much since the Island arc, which they're never getting to because they only did 2 seasons of the anime. The arc after they fight Sukuna, they go to an island full of stone people that survived and lived. So they were there's another tribe, and that tribe has one of the devices. Pretty much from that point on, I mean, right after that story on, he's kind of just been trying to rush to end the series, and I think it's partially the editor's creation, and they went with this more elaborate and difficult drawing characters from each point in that series. And I mean, the artist is amazing with what he can do, and I think he's having more fun with the Ace story. To be honest, I think he's having more fun telling the offshoot of One Piece's Ace. And I think part of it is I mean, you're working with somewhat of an established story, but you're telling a story that no one else has learned, and Oda's making it canon. Oda's like, yeah, it's canon. So the Ace story's canon. The Sanji story is not canon, but I'd love to see it become canon, honestly. The Vivi story was just a retelling. But I did like that it was from the guy who did, gosh, what was the series? Nisekoi? Or the person who did Nisekoi. So I did like to see that come back briefly. I was a fan of Nisekoi, and I did like that. I don't blame him at all. Ace's light novels are very interesting. Yeah, from what I've heard, they're very interesting. Oda's created such a great world to create offshoots. It's just amazing. And how crazy, because you can go crazy just be like, oh, it's the Grand Line. Oh, it's a devil fruit power. And it explains itself in that sense. So, I mean, it's great how Oda developed this world, and Oda's really big interest is creating this world, and it leaves open for so many people to come in and be like, oh, well, here's this character story from that world. And I mean, part of me, that's why I was interested when I was doing role-playing design for the world, because the world is so open for that kind of environment that I'm kind of surprised that, well, I'm sure there'll be one eventually, because you'll probably get something like with the Dragon Ball. What is it? Is it Xenoverse that they go back and forth in time? You might get something similar with One Piece in the future. Let's see here. What do I have left to do here? Let's see here. Kind of feel like her back's a bit broken there, but oh well. I know what I can do. Dang it. Too bad I'm blind. Also, if wonder if Bleach is gonna get a spin-off after the 20th birthday. I think the creator, he wanted to tell a story and it kind of got butchered by the editors. I kind of feel sorry for Kobo, because yeah, his Bleach, the manga itself, not the anime, because the anime got butchered for a different reason. Um, the manga got butchered by its editing staff. Uh, Kubo, yeah, Type Kubo, is basically, he is an amazing graphic designer and a graphic artist, but part of him, I think he just feels beat down and worn out. I don't know if he wants to continue the Bleach story. They did a short one shot recently in the Shonen Jump, and it was literally the continuation story of what happens after, and you get to see them grown up and their children a little bit and interactive, but it was mainly about what is it? I'm trying to remember his name. Damn it! Ichigo came in and helped out the current captains and fight this one guy. And there was premise that you could feel like he might pick it back up, and Shonen Jump might let him come back and do it. But I think he's also feels pretty burnt from the whole experience. I don't know if he'd be willing to take on another spin-off, even a spin-off of the series for long terms, because both of his projects since have been short runs, and he's intentionally made them short runs because he doesn't want people butchering his story anymore. And I do feel sorry for what he went through. But I mean, it goes to show that editing is one of the things, and I got to give credit. Grands and Hell. I can't even say the Celebrate Grands and Hell. The Gintama kind of did a spoof of it, and they did it in the anime, and I don't know if they did it in the manga as well, where they pointed and they were making fun of Oda a little bit in it, where it's, if you're not Oda himself, you're not going to have, your editors are always going to come in and sort of determine what your story is going to be. And the only reason they won't do it to Oda is because Oda's the moneymaker. So I mean, it's kind of sad that the editors are that way, and they kind of dictate. They'll be like, "Oh, well, this is how this character really should go," and whatnot. And they really force their hand on Bleach. Basically saying, this is, let's push this way and the story this way, and it's like, okay. At the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, Aizen was a boss in the first arc, or well, not first arc, in the arc where they go to Soul Society. But I feel bad for the guy who did Beelzebub, his last series, Hard Boiled Cop, and Dolphin got shortchanged. It's so hard. So hard. I have not read that one. I heard it was good. I've not read it. So it got shortchanged. I was not aware of that one. I kind of feel the same way with, like I said earlier, reading Akatsuki Triangle, and you can feel elements of the editing coming into play, where the series was somewhat. I mean, the series is humorous, a lot of ways, but you can feel that's the editor involved, because the humor's kind of repetitive. They've kind of forced the relationships, and I think at the same time, the writer is doing a reverse on that. Canceled after 43 chapters. Ow. I did not know that. I heard nothing but good things about that series. I'm kind of surprised it canceled. Um, Another series recently got canceled that I don't remember. Let's see here. Actually, I'm going to pull up the Shonen Jump app. Let's see here. I know My Hero's on its last run. And he got an ending, but still sucks. Well, they kind of try and let you get to an ending in Shonen Jump. See, I wonder if Spy Family ended. Did Spy Family end? That's supposedly a great series too. I started it. I hadn't gotten further in it, and there's supposed to be an anime coming out of it. I'm kind of surprised if that ended. Because it didn't get rating. Yeah, that's usually what they do is they cancel them because of ratings. Um, they'll leave certain titles alone because of ratings. Um, if it's a JoJo, they're not going to bother removing that because of the popularity of JoJo, even if the ratings are low. Same with One Piece. If the ratings go low for One Piece, they don't touch it. I loved the Gravity Boys. That's one of the series I loved. Spivers. Okay, so they must be on a break because I'm noticing they haven't updated since mid-September. I loved the Gravity Boys. It was a great series. I felt it was a humorous. I enjoyed it as a humorous series. I like the idea of a planet of all guys trying to basically repopulate their world, and through messed up means. I loved the idea. It was a nice short idea, but I mean, yeah, I felt the series could have kept going, but it lost because of ratings. Um, and they kind of ended it, but they ended that one on a weird story, bi-weekly update. Okay, so it's bi-weekly. All right, so they're every 2 weeks. That's kind of weird. But I guess Shonen Jump's probably doing that with a few titles now to fill it out. But yeah, Spy Family, I know an anime's coming out for it. And it is a series I like to see. Chainsaw Man, of course, is going to be popular with its anime coming out. Like I said, My Hero's coming to an end. They're in their supposedly in their final arc. Last chapter was on September 19th. Yeah, that's what I was saying. And of course, Dr. Stone is ending. I think they literally said they're in the last few chapters of the Dr. Stone story. I don't know about Black Clover. Are they ending? Because I mean, I've been watching the anime. I've been trying to keep up with that one. I feel that story is a mixed bag. Hunter's Guild Red Hood is getting interesting. I read the first few chapters when they were introducing it, and I hadn't read any more. So I'll have to pick that one back up and see. That was the one where the small girl is actually an older woman. Just by a curse, she's a small girl. At times. Or she disguises herself as a Black Clover hasn't announced the anime but the anime got canceled. Okay, that is a sign that it may happen. I could see why the anime got canceled, though, because I do feel it had a rough anime start, and a longer running series, unless you're really have a huge fan base, you're not gonna keep going. A lot of anime studios are doing the segmented seasonal these days over the long run, like Black Clover was doing. I think Black Clover probably might end the long running series after One Piece officially ends, you know. And it's high rated. The manga is still going on. Okay, it's high rated. All right. My main issue with most manga series, if they get to be DBZ, is my problem. And it's not to shoot down DBZ. And it's something Bleach really got into. It's the whole I've lost, let me train and get more powerful. And I mean, I could say that with One Piece in a sense, but Luffy doesn't really go off and train all that often. It was a rare moment in Wano for that to happen, and it was even rarer moment when they did the time skip. And everybody, you know, there's the meme of, oh well, let's go do another time skip. Not gonna happen. There's not gonna be another time skip. Mainly because the world is coming to a close at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have not. I've been trying to watch Super, um, and I don't know about Dragon Ball Super. There was a series, and I don't know if it was fan made. I hope it was fan. I hope it wasn't fan made. That I loved of Dragon Ball, and it literally was the silliness that was living with the Super Saiyans in their home. And my favorite line was Vegeta yelling at Bulma for where his clicker is for his to watch TV, and I mean that made me laugh. That kind of stuff brought just enjoyment to me because I could see Vegeta being that kind of asshole of a dad in the house. Be like, I'm just gonna be the bum. She's the already got millions of dollars. I'm just gonna be a bum and sit around the house and watch TV. But yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I don't like and Naruto did it. Bleach did it. Bleach did it horribly though. It's one of the things I really did not like with Bleach, and I think that was main part of where the editor came in. It's like, oh well, he needs to go off and train now, and it's there are literally 3 times during the uh, Soul Society arc that Ichigo loses and goes off and trains. Um, so I mean, it's just grinding, and I mean, the lose and come back concept is fine. I mean, Luffy constantly does that, and it's the set. It's basically concept to set up that the enemy's powerful. Then you come back and I'd rather like 8 and 0, but I feel the anime should have been. It's just recycle fairy tale English VAs in their entirety rather than just the. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I do get that with 8 and 0. There is a bit of recycled feel. Um, but I feel there's a bit more. My problem with Fairy Tail wasn't really the power leveling. It was not exploring much of the world, and I think maybe if I paid more attention to the 100 Years arc, I might like it because they go out from the world. I believe we. I mean, the sad thing is, and I did this when I was creating the game role playing game for it. You have a very centralized continent, but we never really got beyond where the map was. And it's a huge world, but we don't really explore anything beyond this one country. And there was so much more you could explore in that series, but they didn't do it. And he focused so much on just the small few guilds that we knew about, and the Dragon Slayers. And for things like the dragon, I forget his name, the Alec or whatever, the villain dragon of the series, of Fairy Tale, to be this great and powerful threat to the world, but it was all centralized in just a country. So it wasn't out in the further part of the world. We didn't see any elements of the world taking part of. And I felt like that kind of, I mean, we got a bit of hint of the giants, but we never really got any further with the giants. I mean, it's elements like that. It's like you kind of build something up and then you let it down. All right, I think it's white sneakers. So let's put the white sneakers there. And to be fair, never cared about the world. Heck, he didn't even have the ending in mind. He actually wrote it, and it shows why Toriyama's right by the seat of your pants. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it helps to know. And Oda has an endpoint. He knows where his endpoint is. You can tell from a creator in a manga if they know where their endpoint is. I mean, Takahashi is a good one example. If you wanted to go to the her series, she didn't have an endpoint in mind for Inuyasha. She didn't have an endpoint in mind for Rama One Half. She had an endpoint in mind for Maison Koku, which is one of my favorite series by her. But she didn't have an endpoint for a lot of her series. And when you have an endpoint, you know where your story's going, so you can direct your story in and around from there. And I mean, I have an endpoint for Demon Blade. I know where Demon Blade is going in the end. I don't know all of the story, but I know where the story is going. So I mean, that's one of the key things I wanted to make sure of. When I wrote 11 Kingdoms, I knew the endpoint of 11 Kingdoms. When I'm writing this isekai, I kind of know the endpoint of the isekai. I'm a little looser with that one because it was a lot of fan interaction to determine that one. But yeah, I feel it's better to know your endpoint unless you're doing a comedy week to week joke. So I mean, Gintama, there may have been a great story developed for Gin's backstory, but since most of it was joke to joke, I don't expect the story from Gintama. I expect the jokes. But yeah, I mean, even if it's just segments like in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, I expect the creator of JoJo to know where his segment for that JoJo incarnation, to know his know the endpoint of that character. So when they're going through, I know they're on part 8 of JoJo's story. So I'm sure he knows his endpoint for that part 8. And I mean, I hope that's the case. I mean, My Hero, I expected that case. Naruto, we had an endpoint. We knew once Naruto was Hokage, that was the endpoint. One Piece, when he finds the treasure, that's the endpoint. Bleach, we never really knew that endpoint. And that was sad. Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball, we never knew that endpoint. Because it was just Goku wants to fight somebody. For the most part. And yeah, I mean, that going back to character creation, I mean, that's the Goku point that I put in my. She wants to fight somebody. She has that very Goku mentality that she wants to just fight somebody and test her strength. So I mean, elements like that, that I mean, if you, as long as you have an endpoint, you have a chance to really have a good story. I never felt there was an endpoint in Fairy Tale. I felt it was episodic, in nature. That there was this story. It was like, here's a story, here's the next story, and go on. Is he still around? I heard last Jolien was still. Yeah, Jojillian. I don't. Is it Jojillian? Whoever the sailor guy is. The sailor Jojo. And I can say sailor because it is a sailor. He wears a sailor suit. But yeah, he's still doing it. I'm sure I would hear tears and crying from Sea Dog VA if I, who I follow, on streams, his streams and all that. I'm sure he would be bawling his eyes out because his favorite series is JoJo. I can't vouch for how good it is. I mean, I've paid attention to the series as it appears on Netflix, um, and I've not really. I kind of stopped after part 3, so I haven't really gotten any further in part 4. Although I hear Jolene's supposed to be a really good part. Yeah, yeah, and that's Jolene, and I've heard that part 6 is a really good story arc. Yeah, it is on Netflix. Netflix. That's where I've been watching it. Viz, I know, does the translation for it. Um, so I respect them a little bit on that. Let's see here. I'm not gonna do the jewels on her earrings. I know she's got bat earrings. Let's do her necklace though, and then we're gonna actually come to an end. Da, da, da. All right, got a little skull, I think, on this one. All right, let's remove that, that, and one more there. I'll remove the writing. We've got one more underneath. Okay, there. Okay. So there we've finished our drawing for the most part. Just had a little bit of a shadow on her. I mean, like I said, there are some good anime on Netflix. Of course, Agresco is amazing, freaking amazing. Uh, that's an anime, and being a Sanrio fan, um, having my Hello Kitty elements on in my purses, and I gotta say, Aggressico is my spirit animal. The fact that I would get very aggressive in some work environments, if I had to deal with some really crappy things like she does. Um, and I would go home and I would basically just unleash the rage, as if it were, as she does. Netflix gets a bad rap on some things. I do not have faith in their live action too much right now. I liked Race, even the final section. Well, see, that's a rare one They also have the live action Erased on Netflix. Watch the live action Erased because that's a rare moment where the live action did better than the anime. Um, because the live action followed the manga, and the anime did not follow the manga for the ending. Um, but yeah, the ending they kind of screwed up the anime ending and Erased. And I just rewatched them both, like recently, because I was debating on having those as a thing. But that would have been a case with the anime watch. I would be like, no, I also want you to watch the live action. Um, but I decided not to do that one. I'm probably going to have them do Orange on my next choice, which is kind of a misunderstood anime series, I think, for most people from the 2016. Uh, but yeah, no, I loved Erase. But Erase wasn't a Netflix original. Erased came out on Crunchyroll first, um, and a couple other places because I watched it on Crunchyroll first, and then when they got the live action over on Netflix, they added the uh, anime as well, and like kind of like they're doing with One Piece. I wish they brought in more One Piece on Netflix. Um, I do feel like most people, if they wanted to give a shot with One Piece, have seen all the way up to the Alabaster arc. It's the better arcs are, I feel, beyond Alabaster, even though Alabaster is a great arc. I People who have not seen stuff like the Water 7 arc, just blew me away. Um, but yeah, I mean, there are a couple of series on Netflix that do well, or some of they do okay in. But yeah, there are times there's just crap that they put together. Um, but I mean that's the case with almost any anime release. And we just talked this Monday about Those Who Hunt Elves, which was an ADV release on our anime podcast or show, and my God, that was a series that I don't think would have come to America if it weren't for what was done in the 90s for gaining shows. So basically, what was done in the 90s, because everybody and their mother kind of had an anime dubbing studio or releasing studio. And one of the things they did is they're like, oh, you want this series? Well, you got to take these series with them and dub them. And you could tell which ones they got through licensing as a package deal, because they would tend to not do the dubbing well, or they'd put bad translations in there purposely, because sometimes you wouldn't get like word jokes, puns and stuff like that in the series. So I mean it's kind of how um, Ghost Stories came to be, but Ghost Stories was literally a moment of the creator, the original creator was like, this anime was crap. Do what you want. Um, so I mean, most people who don't know the story of Ghost Stories is the subtitle. If you watch the sub and you watch the original content, that series sucks. It is bad. There's no reason why that series got an anime. Um, but it was saved by its dub because they said, well, if we're going to go wild, let's go completely wild. And we got a vastly different series with humor and in jokes. But one of the things they didn't do is they weren't dated references. And that's what it kind of killed me when we were watching Those Who Hunt Elves. And I kind of stated it on my review of it, is it really had a ton, the dubbing had a ton of dated references. And it's kind of like Disney's Aladdin. And it's not to diss Disney's Aladdin, especially Robin Williams, who did an amazing job. But dated references, man. It's just like, if you put dated references in it, it doesn't stand up as well years down the line. And there were several jokes in Aladdin that kind of just are dated. You can tell rewatching it. It just didn't work. I mean, that's why I mean, my favorite Disney film, animated film, is Beauty and the Beast. And it's because the joke, everything works in that film. It just worked. And I mean, given it's the reason why we have an animation category in the Oscars officially now. But I mean, at the same time, in that film, there's no real dated reference that I could think of in that film. There are bad points in the film, but there's nothing. Sounds like the opposite of Promised Neverland. Of dated references, I've not really. I mean, Promised Neverland. The story after they escaped the orphanage pretty much should have ended. After that point, you're like, okay, what's this story about? So they kind of shot themselves. The creator kind of shot themselves in the foot there. That once they got out, because what I saw Promised Neverland as when I was reading it, I saw it as The Great Escape, the anime. And if you don't know what The Great Escape is it's a film that was made that took place in World War II POW camp. The film itself actually wasn't filmed in a POW camp, but the element was there, and it was about them escaping the Nazi control camp. So that's what The Great Escape is about. And so I kind of felt like, with the whole demons eating orphans that are raised to be fed off of, I kind of felt that was what it was. It was meant for a few topics back with the anime. Oh, okay. Ah. All right. I think we are pretty much done for this today. Like I said, I've got a couple things I need to work on still. I'm actually going to be working probably on the video game element for Monday, because I'm going to try and do things, fix it up. Manga is fine, a little downhill after. Yeah, again, leaving the farm. Like I said, it's the greatest. I felt it was kind of like The Great Escape in anime form. Well, manga form, but still. So, once again, as always, if you have a request that you want and Dining and Doodles done, then you can leave a comment, subscribe. Always like, comment, and subscribe on this on these. I love to hear back from people. And as always, on the chart or on these videos with Dining and Doodles, we have our sponsor, which is Built Bar. I have a Built Bar in front of me. I didn't eat it. I didn't even finish the rest of my crackers. I have a wonderful mint grasshopper cookie flavor, and I love it. I love these bars. They are high protein, low carb, low sugar, keto friendly, and absolutely delicious. They focus on flavor first. That is their key. It is made with real dark chocolate. So you are not getting some fake, just gross protein flavor. These are good for protein bars, but they're also good just for candy replacements because of their low sugar content. And if you go to their website, built.com, and use the promo code EmbryaArts, you can get 10% off your order. So once again, that is built.com, EmbryaArts. And until next time, I want to thank you all for joining me. Thank you to Calburn13 for all their comments today and helping us spur on the chat. And I'll see you again next week with a new drawing. Until then, have a good night, a good week, and a